Tonight, when the sun goes down, you will flip a switch. Light will flood the room, and you won't think twice about it. But for 300,000 years, that switch didn't exist. When darkness came, it came completely. You couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. And inside that darkness, your ancestors were doing something science has only just begun to understand, something that hasn't happened to most modern humans, not once in their entire lives. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Wehr ran an experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health. He took a group of healthy volunteers, and he removed all artificial light from their lives. For 1 month, they experienced 14 hours of darkness every night. The same darkness your ancestors would have lived inside. For most of human history, within weeks, every single participant changed, without anyone telling them to. Without any instruction, their bodies began doing something no modern human normally does. They stopped sleeping in one continuous block. They slept for about 4 hours, then woke up, stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, then slept again until dawn. Nobody suggested this. Nobody planned it. Their bodies simply remembered it, as if some ancient program had been waiting inside them the whole time. Buried under centuries of artificial light, Wehr measured their hormone levels during that wakeful period in the middle of the night. What he found was unexpected. The participants were in a state unlike any normal waking state. Their brains were producing elevated levels of prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation. During deep rest, during the most peaceful states a human brain can enter, they described feeling calm, reflective, unhurried, almost meditative. It wasn't insomnia, it wasn't restlessness, it was its own distinct state of consciousness, one that most modern humans have never experienced and may never experience. Here's what makes this stranger. This wasn't some accidental discovery. History had been documenting this pattern for centuries. Nobody was listening. In 2001, historian Roger E. Kirch published a paper that changed sleep science. He had spent 16 years searching through historical records, prayer books from the 1400s, court records, medical texts, diaries, letters from ordinary people, even passages in Homer's Odyssey, over 500 references. All of them mention the same thing: first sleep and second sleep. Before the industrial age, people did not sleep in one continuous block. They slept for 4 hours, woke up, stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours, then returned to sleep until dawn. For most of human history, this was just sleep. This was normal. And what did people do during those quiet hours between first and second sleep? Everything. They prayed. They reflected on their dreams while they were still fresh. They talked with whoever was lying beside them. They wrote. Some simply lay in the dark and thought. Medieval physicians recommended it as the best time for reflection and study. The mind was calm. The world was completely still. And here's the part that gets lost in every version of this story. Translators had been reading references to first sleep and second sleep for centuries, and they kept translating them as something else, because they could not imagine that people had ever slept differently than they did. The assumption was so deep that scholars literally rewrote ancient texts to fit modern experience. History was telling us the whole time. We edited it out. So what destroyed it? The answer is simple: light. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was among the first. London followed. Then came cheaper candles. Then gas lamps in the 1800s. Then, in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb. And within a single generation, the night, as humans had known it for 300,000 years, was gone. What replaced it was not just convenience. It was a biological disruption running quietly inside every person alive. Blue light from screens and bulbs hits your retina at 11 p.m., and your brain interprets it as noon. It delays melatonin release. It fragments your sleep. It disrupts the circadian rhythm that took millions of years to build. Researchers have found that people who go camping for just 1 week with no artificial light have their melatonin cycles reset by nearly 2 hours. Their bodies begin producing melatonin at sunset instead of hours after it. That is all it takes for 300,000 years of programming to reassert itself. 1 week. And here is what was actually stolen. Not just the extra hours of sleep, not just the two-phase rhythm. What was stolen was a state of mind. That quiet waking period between first and second sleep, the one Wehr's subjects described as meditative and deeply peaceful, doesn't exist anymore for most people. What exists instead is insomnia, and we treat it like a malfunction. We prescribe medication for it. We call it a disorder. But what if waking up at 2 in the morning and lying there in the dark? Isn't your body failing? What if it's your body remembering something? What if the most common sleep complaint in the modern world is actually an ancient program trying to run in an environment that no longer allows it? Around those ancient fires, something else was happening too. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years recording conversations among the Jew Huanzi Bushmen of the Kalahari, one of the last groups on Earth still living close to the original human pattern. During the day, about 80% of conversations were practical: logistics, hunting, work. But at night, around the fire, the entire character of conversation shifted. 81% of nighttime conversations were stories, myths, adventures, tales of distant people, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wiesner argued that firelight conversation is where human culture was born. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original place where humans learned to think beyond the immediate moment and imagine things that don't exist yet. We became us. In the dark, around the fire, in those quiet hours after the first sleep, modern humans are exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset. The darkness that built our species, most of us have never truly experienced. We traded an entire phase of human consciousness for a light switch, and almost nobody knew what they were giving up. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu. It means cover fire. A bell would ring at night signaling everyone to extinguish their flames, because the night was supposed to be dark, because humans were supposed to sleep, because for 300,000 years, the darkness wasn't something to defeat, it was something to inhabit. We conquered it and called it progress.